Very quiet.
I can't hear it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Property Banter, Zoom style, new Zoom style. One day we will we will get this thing. Actually, I don't think we'll ever get this thing working. Welcome, Russell Cambridge, Biggin and Scott director, the block auctioneer, all-round soccer lover. How are you, Rusty?
Excellent, my friend. How are you?
I'm very good. It's been a big week in real estate. We're all out of are we out of lockdown? How are you guys finding it?
Well, they said you can only go out of your house for 5 reasons, and one of them was to go to an open for inspection. So I'm happy about that. So we've got 23 open for inspections this Saturday. How good is that? Back on.
Really? 23 open for inspections? That's unreal.
23, but we're only allowed 10 people plus the agents in the property at any given time. We've got to monitor and make sure that not too many people are in the house and, you know, hold them back at the gates as they're queuing up. No more than 10 outside, 5 in the property at any given time, something along those lines. The guys know what they're doing.
So, we always welcome questions, and this is Property Banter. So anyone who's got a question as we're talking or wants to say something, Michelle said we're in stage 1 of 3. So that's right. I think most of the country is in stage. I think Perth is actually in stage 2 now. The best thing for me is that we're able to bloody go out and catch up with a mate and have a beer. I mean, that was not that having a beer is the most important thing, but shit, it's
you can
pretty
have
important,
a
isn't it?
in their house as long as you're one of only 5 guests.
Yeah.
But you can't stay the night, Mark. I just want to point that out. You're not allowed to stay the night if you have a few too many drinks. And, of course, you can't drive home over the limit still. So maybe just the one beer. I'm just putting it out there.
I tell you what, I've got a bit of a problem. I was thinking about this during the week. I've actually got, like you, I've got 4 children and obviously a lovely wife and 4 kids. So if we want to go to a friend's house, I'd probably have to tie the youngest one up to a pole outside or something.
Just leave them at home.
Can't take. Yeah, well, but I sort of like some of them. I'm not sure I like all of them, but no, I'll have to I'll have to work something out. Hey, we've got a great guest joining us today, Russ. We've got Bonnie Hollander from Agents to Go in Gimpy in Queensland.
What a gal, hey? What a gal. She is full of beans, full of life, and has the best logo I have ever seen. Welcome, Bonnie.
Cheers.
Welcome, Bonnie.
Thanks for having me.
How are you going?
I'm great. Now, look, I have to admit, like Russell, if he actually pitches a tent outside the home on council land, he's not staying overnight at your house.
That's what Mark does regularly.
I usually do that by the side of the road or wherever I can. I usually get kicked out of my house. That's the major problem, and no one lets me back in. Until you
became a billionaire property tycoon banterist.
But property, yes, something like that. Bullshit arterist, I think, is the technical term.
Bonnie, can you share with us? I'm going to talk over the top of him because you're more interesting. Where are you right now? Tell us about Gimpy. Tell us what you sell, what your median price is, and the biggest property you've sold so far.
Oh, my God.
And, Bonnie, what makes you indestructible? What makes you indestructible? What are the things that you're doing? And why are you, sorry, Russ, but why are you Agent of the Year in Queensland? You know, that's rate my agent of the Year. Not everyone gets to win that sort of, that sort of award.
And I've won it 2 years in a row, thank you very much. But
just saying.
Look, just one question at a time, okay? I can't believe I'm drinking at, 4:05. I usually try and wait till 5 p.m, even though COVID's in place and we're allowed to drink at any time from what I've told.
And you're in Queensland, so it's only 2017.
I'm in Gimpy, so it's the 1800s still. But
there we go.
Emma wants to know what you're drinking, Bonnie. What are you drinking? Emma wants to know what you're drinking.
I'm drinking Bubbles. Dry
Bubbles.
brew, Agents to Go style.
That's a brilliant logo. I love it.
We'll stop cutting you off. Tell us about Gimpy and what you're doing.
got it all here. So look, I own and operate Agents to Go and Gimpy. It's an independent office with my partner Angie. We started this 6 years ago. It's basically a no fuss. It's upfront, nothing hidden. We only sell real estate. Everything is priced, no auctions, no expressions of interest, nothing like that. It's everything is on the table, so you understand it. Gympie, 52,500 of population. We probably have about 7 square kilometres of our postcode. We have over 100 suburbs in Gympie that we service. Mostly I do residential, rural res, and some rural. Don't do property management. God, thank God for that. Praise the Lord.
Why is that? Why is that? Is that just a lot of work? I mean, Russ, you have a big rent roll, but why don't you want to do it, Bonnie?
Because of reasons like COVID and what's happened. like the stress, Russell, that you have to go through with.
Well, you know, I must say my property managers have had a very stressful couple of months, and if any of them are listening, a round of applause. They're on our front line. They've done a stellar job. You know, it's not been easy, but I'm curious to know, what is your median price in Gimpy, and what would be the biggest property you've sold in Gimpy?
Okay, the median price here is 275 at the moment, so it has actually gone
million.
275,000, Russell.
Wow, brilliant.
We offer a lifestyle for less. And who would not want to live here? I mean, seriously, the sunny coast, well, a little bit further than that, we're southeast Queensland, Wide Bay area. Look, seriously, I can get up and be in Noosa in 40 minutes. I can be at Brisbane, walking on the beach, hobnobbing it with those ones that own $3 million properties that are still working and not experiencing those properties. But guess what? I get to go home, and I get to go home and drink every night with my partner on my 2 acres of executive home, and I haven't had to pay $3 million for it, and I get the weekends off.
Oh, fantastic.
So Bonnie, what are you doing now during COVID? You were saying the other day that not a lot has changed for you guys, other than you know, obviously stock has dried up. But what's changed for you guys in Gympie?
Real estate with COVID is obviously the social distancing, and lockdown. So most people couldn't do auctions and open homes. We've never done auctions and open homes.
No open homes?
No open homes.
Just always private.
Yep. And guess what? I sell more properties in Queensland than any other agent, and I don't do auctions or open homes. Hello, wake up.
So you meet someone at the property, bang, they're sold. That's it. Sign here, bang.
People don't want to know us. Okay, they know the property they want. They do their research. They're online. They can see what we've done. We've implemented, obviously, the virtual tours, because I've actually sold 2 properties that people haven't actually viewed yet. They've settled during COVID. We've had 2 properties settled during COVID, and I've got the keys in my office and nobody's living in them because the people are interstate because they can't get here. But we've done the virtual tour and we've done the walkthrough and that. So at the end of the day, look, a property sells itself. We're just a medium to get the person to, I guess, feel comfortable about the process and negotiate the best price with the seller.
What type of properties were they that they bought sight unseen? Were they like 30 square homes, 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms? Were they beautiful homes, new, or they're old homesteads? What were they?
Of course they were beautiful.
The 2 of them were acreage lifestyle properties, which is very popular at the moment. So affordable lifestyle acreage properties, because people just want to downsize and get away, downsize the mortgage and have some more space. I guess in lockdown, I couldn't imagine being in lockdown. One of my friends is overseas in lockdown and has been for a long time, and in a townhouse, like a flat type thing.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I couldn't imagine it.
Ugh.
We do live in a beautiful state, and thank goodness that, you know, our country stepped up a little bit, I guess, with, you know, all the stuff that's happening with the surplus and everything happening with the money and that.
However, it could be worse. You could be in lockdown with Mark.
Or no, actually, I'd be okay with that. I think
No, I've got to say I would. We'd argue all the time, but it'd be good fun. Hey, no, that's fantastic. Really fantastic. Now, with a bustling personality like your own, have you got to know all 52,000 residents of Gympie? I'm sure you have. And how do you get to know them all? What's your trick?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure they know me because we are very social media savvy. Well, we're trying to be, and even more so because of the COVID. But I do like to get involved. So, and it's really hard actually when you go down the street because a lot of people you do know and recognise. But I remember properties, not people. So if I come up and they go, oh, Bonnie, and I'm like, yes, I know you. I'm like, what property? And they're like, oh, whatever, 52 Ward Street or whatever. And I'm like, now I know. I still don't know your name, but I know exactly the property and I can walk them through every room. I don't care when I sold it, I just know it.
I think that's really interesting. I think all property people are the same. I'm like that. I can't remember people's names, but I know the property. I know how much it's sold for. I know when it's sold. I know all that sort of stuff, but I can't remember your name. That's the hard part. But the property itself, that's really easy.
But
no, that's my speciality. I remember everyone I meet, Mark.
Yeah, you're pretty bloody funny too. Hey guys, let's move on. I want to start getting into a bit of a deep dive and talk about what's going on in the industry at the moment. And I think one of the big things that came out during the week, I'm just going to share my screen here, is banks warn that house prices are going to fall by up to 30% as rental vacancies surge. Is this just media pumping up, a headline, or do we think there's validity to this sort of headline?
Well, notice with interest there was 3 journalists who put that article together, so maybe it was 10% drop per journalist. And I'd like to say good luck to those journalists for their house hunting, because that was clearly designed to cause panic and chaos in the marketplace and cause a collapse that isn't happening. Go for it, Bonnie. Let it rip. What do you think of 30% drop? What a load of codswallop, yeah?
Well, it makes the news when you say it. And if you say it, you can believe it. But at the end of the day, it's not my reality, okay? We haven't seen a drop. We have honestly seen quite a healthy... Look, it hasn't dropped in price, but it's dropped in transaction. And I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, we haven't seen a drop of 30% in price. God knows what to come, but I think, it's media, it's news, and unless it's shocking, good or bad, it's not going to make the papers. So if they want to make that up, that's fine. But the reality is, where we are in our region, and that's all I can really speak for, to be honest with you, we are healthy. Our prices are staying healthy. We haven't been growing in the last 10 years. So, at the end of the day, it's stable at the moment during COVID. That's all I can say.
This headline, I think if you go back through, these media headlines, we've seen this headline about property prices falling by 30%. Probably at least half a dozen times over the last 15 or 20 years, during the GFC and during, the late 80s and all these, there's just, this sort of is an old worn out headline that I think they just must roll out the same headline because they've got nothing to say, but it continually happens. But I think from my point of view, what we've seen happen is property prices like in Gimpy, you said before, Bonnie, that they haven't grown in 10 years. So by default, it's not keeping up with inflation. By default, it's sort of slipping behind. But it's not this. The media expects house prices to react like the share market, where one day it's worth $1 and tomorrow it's worth 50 cents. And the reality is property provides a fundamental need, which is shelter. And people don't just sell every property they own overnight. It's
Mark,
crazy.
These headlines also create the reverse effect of what they're writing about. You say prices are going to fall, so vendors go, well, in that case, I'm not going to bloody sell. So all of a sudden, there's a lack of stock on the marketplace, and prices stay firm. So we've seen it over and over again. How many times in the last 10 years have we heard the expression, the bubble is going to burst? And it never happened. It really never
No.
really happened. If it burst, it was more of a, that was it. I don't know
Well,
if you've heard
it softens. The market softens, and I think you've probably seen that in Gimpy, you know, over the years, Bonnie.
Yeah. Oh, look, the GFC did affect this region, and it was about a 20%. And to be honest with you, it's too early with the COVID. It's uncertain times, yes. And I think jumping at things that aren't really happening right now, we need to just wait and see. We don't know what's going to happen around the corner. I mean, it's like an alien's just come in and totally disrupted everybody globally. So
how many cases of COVID did they have in Gimpy? Is a local pub open? Is a local restaurant opening? Can you go and have a beer and a parma in Gimpy right now? Or have they closed it down because of all of these cases that never happened in Gimpy?
there are no cases in Gimpy. We are
There
completely...
you go. Bang!
My office supplies free beer and champagne for anybody who wants to come and join us.
Yeah, but the problem in Gimpy is if they open the bars and the restaurants, only 40 minutes away you've got Noosa. So all of those people will be coming to Gimpy to get a beer and a feed. So
Put the roadblocks up. Put the roadblocks up. But just let Mark and Mark and me through. We'll be in a 4-wheel drive there in 48 hours. Come on, Mark. Let's go on a road trip.
I desperately need to go out to I'm not a big foodie, but shit, I just need to go out to a restaurant and
Really?
have just a parma or something, just a parma and a pot. You know, that'd keep me very happy if I could go and do that.
But the thing is, you don't realise that you miss these things until they're taken away from you, and that is quite amazing, isn't it? You're like, I used to live in Cairns at Kawara Beach, and I never went and walked on the beach every morning. But now I crave to walk on the beach. It's just crazy. So when things are taken away, you kind of miss them. But yeah, you've just got to get...
Yeah.
What one thing,
Bonnie,
are you missing? What thing do you want back straight away? If you could go, magic wand, go bang, I'm going to do, what would it be?
Ooh, you know, I've actually gained a lot out of what's happened with the COVID. And there's probably not one thing apart from that I wish that my colleagues and community wouldn't have to close the doors on their businesses because it's affected them. So that's been my biggest sort of worry in our...
Isn't it horrible that they've had to close their cafes, bars and restaurants in places like Gimpy when there's 0 cases? You know, why didn't they just close it, maybe little, roadblocks, stop people coming in? You had to have some sort of proof you're from Gimpy to come in. Just let those restaurants operate and work. It would have done no harm. I'm just saying.
Let's not get political, but the other thing that we're seeing in the market, I'm sure you guys are going to have some comments about this, is the rise of the off-market transaction. There's a bit of media out there at the moment that amid the pandemic, property market experiences surge in off-market listings. You know, are you guys seeing that? We've spoken to a few people over, in the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
I've always struggled with this one. If it's off market, but it's on the market, why is it off market if it's on the market for sale and it's sold? Is it off the market or on the market? What does off the market actually mean? Or is it code for private bloody sale?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not code for private sale. What they're really saying here, and what I think what they're basically saying is it's not being advertised on the mainstream media, realestate.com or Domain or the print media. So it's being sold without advertising and being sold to a database.
Why don't they say on the market, no marketing? Rather than
but that's essentially what it is. And I think over the years sorry, Bonnie, I'll let you jump in. But over the years, I think the prices of advertising have skyrocketed, and a lot of vendors, there's no doubt it's a tactic that some agents use to say, well, let's just see if we can dangle it in front of a few buyers and see if we can find a buyer before we commit to some advertising.
I take offence at that. Vendor paid advertising is good value. Over to you, Bonnie.
Okay. I'm sorry to butt in, but we're not experiencing. I don't have people that say I want to go on the market, but don't put me on the market. But what I'm seeing, there is actually buyers out there wanting to buy, but they haven't found the right property. And my off-market listings, which I do is I have vendors that are coming on board, obviously, at different times. So there's probably about 50 of my appraisals that I've done that are waiting to come on board because they've yet got to do things, or things have to happen, or they're not quite ready. So the buyers I'm working with are absolutely desperate because there's not a lot of new listings coming on board. So they're saying, look, Bonnie, can you keep us in mind? This is what we're looking for. And so then I would go to my appraisal list and say, look, I've got these people, and I'll give them a call and say, look, I've got this buyer. I know you're not quite ready, but at the end of the day, if you get the price that you want and satisfies the buyer, can we bring them through and see what happens? And that's the off-market listings that I'm experiencing. It's not huge, but it's becoming more and more at the moment because there isn't a lot of new listings coming on board. They've seen everything there. It doesn't suit them. And I do have stock that are either waiting because of COVID, or they're not quite ready. And, we can bring them through before they're on the market, but I will not put a property on the market which isn't advertised and promoted to the greater buyer population, because that's going to give them the best price at the end of the day.
Well, it's interesting. We had Josh Teslin on the other week, and also we've got Lisa Novak who's coming on shortly, and they've both been talking about the idea of putting properties on, just advertising through Facebook for 1 or 2 weeks first, and using the sort of their existing networks to say, we might be able to get them on the market for 1 or 2 weeks. We'll give that a go first. And so I guess it's sort of easing the way into a broader campaign, because I guess if there is a buyer sitting there that's just waiting to pounce and they're already sitting on your books, isn't it worthwhile just making a few phone calls to get them through the property? And as you say, Bonnie, if the price is right and there's a buyer that's been waiting for that property, and the seller knows the price they want. I mean, I think that's what Josh and sort of Lisa are getting at. They're not saying that the broader based advertising is wrong. They're saying, well, let's just see if let's ease our way into it and see if we can find a buyer that's already there. And if not, well, then we'll open it up to the broader market.
I've got a little bit of a theory that when an agent tells you that they've done 10 off-market sales in the last month, what do you reckon that really means? They've done 1. I think it's talked up a bit. I think it's exaggerated, the off-market selling. I reckon they might have 10 people who have said, can you trial it? But they've only put 1 deal together. But they always talk it up. I think it's over-exaggerated. And your best price is always achieved when there's a little bit of competition behind you and pushes it along. That's my feeling. And I reckon agents talk up the off-market.
Look, there's merit to both. Like, my whole role in this, in this industry for me, is what is the best thing for the owner and the buyer, because without both parties, we don't have a transaction. So my goal is to make sure that both of them are comfortable and happy. If I've got a buyer that desperately needs to find something and they need to move in because their property is sold and they've got to settle in 30 days and I don't have any stock that is on the market, I will look for them. And if I've got a seller that says to me, Bonnie, I don't need the stress of going through. Now, you've got to be aware also, Russell, that our days on market here, you've gone, you're not even listening. Our days on market.
To you, 100%. I've been fascinating. One of our viewers has just texted me something. I'm desperate to find out what Michelle Page has sent us.
Hey, yeah. Now,
your days on market.
Yeah, our days on market here, are around 60 to 70 days. So I know Joss was on the other day and his days on market are 11 days. God help me. Why would you pay somebody commission if they've only got you for 11 days? I don't know. It's like a seller to sell here. In our region especially, like, there's merit to what you're saying, Mark, is what I'm saying here in our industry, because a seller would be grateful to get a premium price without having to go through the stress of 60 days on market. It can be less and can be more, but that's the average.
In your 60 to 70 days, Bonnie, how many buyers would you have shown through that property to get the deal?
Qualified buyers or time wasters?
Yeah, both, really.
No, we only deal with qualified buyers. Basically, that's why we don't do open homes. So every buyer that calls us, we qualify them for the owner's sake.
What's your 3 questions you ask to make sure that they're qualified?
Look, we're nice about it. We let them know that do they need to sell before they buy? So we ask that question, do you need to sell before you buy? And look, that's okay if they do. But at the end of the day, it means that the property that they're buying won't be sold unless they get sold. So we need to make our sellers aware of that. We let them know what is their situation, like do they need to look into their finance. So it's questions like that we ask, but we're not going to bring them through if they're not ready. They're tire kickers, seriously. So, but at the end of the day, so for 60 days on market, look, your average probably one inspection a week.
And I think it's okay. I think that's where it's interesting. You know, two different markets. Different markets. You know, some markets are perpetually seller markets. There's always buyers there. You know, and Richmond, the inner urban areas tend to be perpetually seller markets. You put it on the internet, you get a whole lot of buyers through, and you take it to auction and it sells. But then some other buyers, and Gimpy may well fall into this, and some of the regional markets tend to be buyer markets. You don't have hundreds of buyers in the market, so you know, just getting them through one at a time it can be a better way to go. But Russ,
will you show a hot buyer, Bonnie? Sorry, Mark. Will you show a buyer 3 or 4 properties in a go, Bonnie, or is it just the one-on-one?
No, what I do is if a buyer inquires on a property, they get shown. If they like that property, then we work with them to get the transaction together. We will not show them something that they haven't requested to show unless they don't like that property. If they don't like that property, then they will be shown other properties that we feel that might suit their criteria based on what they've told us. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to go around and show clients properties that they are not interested in. That is not
it's a waste of their time. Hey guys, we are, speaking of time, we're running out of time. I just wanted to make a comment that Sharon has texted through or has messaged through saying that she's in a town where they've got a severe shortage of rental properties. 10,000 residents in the town, and there's only 8 properties available. And so their list of available rental properties is getting shorter. So it just goes to show that, you know, these broad sweeping statements that property prices are going to fall by 30% or that there's blood in the streets when it comes to the rental market, it can vary so widely from area to area and city to city. And that's what really annoys me about the media. They try and make one blanket statement about this is going to happen to the property market. And in actual fact, there's dozens of different things that are going on behind the scenes in the property market. Media doesn't like to get into the details. Hey, Bonnie, we'd like to finish off with just a little short video, something to keep us a little bit, to laugh a little bit as we go, as we drift off into the weekend. This might be, I think we might all relate to this little video I'm going to show you here. Share screen. Oh, I don't think I shared the computer sound last time. So
I can lip read, can you?
I can't hear anything.
Well, why didn't you bloody tell me?
Once you're working out how to do that, Mark, Bonnie, how many sales would you normally do outside of COVID on a month by month basis?
I list and sell a property every 2 days, Russell.
That's fantastic, fantastic. And how many people work in your business, Bonnie?
4.
So all doing sales?
No, it's me.
You're doing the running around?
No, I have a team that works with me.
That's fantastic. But I'll tell you something, what you said before is actually, because of this COVID-19 situation, a lot of our guys have started doing that one-on-one appointment during this COVID-19. And they are fascinated how easy or how responsive and what a great opportunity it is to actually spend time with a single buyer, and you can actually, work with them, nurture them into buying the property that they haven't really been experiencing when they do an open for inspection and 25 groups come through, It's been a real eye-opener for a lot of guys to see how things can be done.
Really You've really hit the nail. Oh, we've got it back. We've got it back.
Come on, tell me. If you can't hear it, you're going to tell me. But
Let's make up what they say if we can't hear it.
Here we go. Tell me if you can hear it.
What's your favorite Bible story?
When Jesus made the water into wine.
Yes, that was a miracle, wasn't it?
Yes.
And what does the story about Jesus making the water into wine teach us?
When you run out of wine, get on your knees and pray.
I'm not going to run out of wine. I've got plenty here.
You're not going to run out of wine. You're not going to run out of Rate My Age and Agent of the Year trophies or certificates either, Bonnie, as we can see over your left-hand shoulder. Bonnie, thank you so much for joining us for Banter. We'd love to have you back at some stage.
Hey, Bonnie, can we come and visit you in Gimpy? And I'd love to show you around Richmond because I believe you spent some time in Richmond. Come and relive the fun times you had down there once.
Oh, thanks, Russell. I'll give you some of my soap. I get handmade soap done by Oscar and Willow, our local soapery here, in rainbow colours. You're welcome anytime.
We're heading up there. We're going to have a Palmer in the Gimpy pub.
Palmer and pub. See you all next week. To everyone watching, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Bonnie.